There's not really a bunch of thatch there, but yet at the same time, just there's a bunch of spots that feel like they're not growing, and this soil is still pretty cold, but it's also pretty, see I got roots down there, but it's also very dry right now. So I've been gone for 4 days and I just got back, so the lawn hasn't been mowed now for 5 days. On the low cut turf especially. It's a pretty long time to go here, so I want to show you some of the things that are going on. There's actually quite a few things going on that need some attention today. So I don't know if you'll be able to tell how much it's kind of overgrown here, but there's quite a bit of length on some of it. I think I'm going to have to come in today with the rotary and actually try to get this cut back down to a little bit lower here. And yeah, there's a few pieces that are definitely needing to be cut. This right here kind of looks like POA. Now I don't know if this will show on camera, but there's just kind of a bluish hue to the grass, and it just means that it's getting a little bit stressed, it's getting over dry. See if I can find a spot that really shows it. Here's one right here that you can tell right in this area. See how it has a little bit of a different hue to it. It's getting pretty dry, so there's a few different spots like this happening right now. The front yard is really, really dry, and I'll show you that. The front is just littered there with some kind of rough grass. It kind of looked like quackgrass to me, but now as it's growing out, the leaves are standing up more. Usually once quackgrass gets a little bit longer, it kind of droops over on the sides. I actually think it might be a rough fescue like Kentucky 31. I did bring in a lot of soil last year, and who knows what it was contaminated with. I kind of knew that going in. I knew that there might be a possibility that I have to redo this whole thing. We're going to continue to mow this low and see what happens, see if it kind of goes away, but if it doesn't, kind of makes my decision a little bit more, maybe a little bit easier for fall renovation, because I don't like the way that's looking at all. And then that front section there as well is just littered with weeds, and I don't know what happened there. It's never really had that many weeds in it before. I'm waiting for the temperatures here to get to be kind of ideal at nighttime to spray things, but with the way that it's looking, I might kind of go ahead and spray that earlier rather than later and just kind of see what happens. That needs some major attention there as well, but first we need to get some mowing done on this yard, make it look a little bit better that way, and then we need to get some water on this thing. I was waiting to stress it out a little bit this spring to kind of make sure that the grass kind of looking for more water down into the ground, but now we're at the point where it's wilting, so that's when we either need to get some rain on it or we need some water on it for sure. I actually remembered that it's 14 millimeter this time. For those of you that decided to yell at me because I said it was a standard size, which it happens to work as well if your bolts here are completely caked with grass like mine are, but that's how things go, right? So I don't know what you'll be able to see on camera here, but you can see there's a lot of this where the green has come through, but there's a lot of brown mixed in down in here. And I checked it for some thatch problems, and there's maybe a little bit of extra thatch in there. This bluegrass gets really thatchy very quickly, especially some of the better varieties that get such a tight sod kind of put together, and you can see how thick this is here. It's very thick, but this happens every time after winter where I have to make a decision kind of whether I want to come in and try to remove some of that stuff out of there or whether I want to leave it just kind of be as it is and see what happens. So usually I get a little bit impatient. I might take a small section and actually do a little bit of dethatching with my swordman. More like just combing through the grass actually, and not really dethatching it, but just getting rid of some of this brown stuff and see kind of what happens with that section compared to some others. Holy cow, look at those two things. Dandelions. Alright, so that actually worked pretty well to go through and remove all of this dead stuff. So you can see what's come up here. It's pretty much just all of this dead stuff that was mixed in. Now I'm not going down to the actual soil layer and actually like taking out thatch, because there's really not a whole lot here. It just needs to kind of go through and get through some of this dead stuff out of there so that the good stuff can kind of start filling in again and thriving. So this is the setup that I've been using in my front yard here for a few years. So you can see here, pretty much just set up everything. There's one there, one over there, one over there, kind of in the shade right over here. So this whole area gets covered pretty well by this little above ground system that I have, and I'm really looking forward to getting my irrigation put in. But for the time being, this system has worked pretty well for me over the last few years. So if you're looking to do something, maybe kind of a temporary system, I have a few videos on that if you want to check it out. One final thing I'm going to put down today is some soil loosener. So this is just going to kind of help with our dry ground right now so that the water can seep into it a little bit better. Basically, it's just kind of like a high-powered soap that just allows the water to be used a little bit more efficiently. And this bottle goes quite a ways here, so I'm just going to spray this on this front yard section before I water it. Alright, well that was quite a bit there getting caught up from being gone, but there's plenty more stuff coming up really soon. So it won't be long before hopefully everything is really looking great here and I can kind of dial things in a little bit more. So thanks so much for watching this video. We'll see you next time.